Yesterday I talked about a streamer who passed away while on stream. His name was Raphael Gravin, known online as Jean Parmenov. He was a French streamer who was once a gamer, then started doing more IRL content and teamed up with some real degenerates that mistreated him and abused him for a very long time. And then they did a 10-day marathon with Jean Parmenov, where they strangled him, beat him, humiliated him, some truly evil shit, and he unfortunately passed away while sleeping on that stream. You can see all of this. It's very, very hard to watch. I looked into this super deeply. Jean Parmenov was an individual who went through a lot of struggle, and he was a vulnerable person, and from what I can tell, this group with Naruto and Safane, these are big French streamers, they exploited his desire to be accepted by pretending to be his friend. And what they wanted for Jean as their friend was to let them beat the fuck out of him and treat him like garbage, dehumanize him, abuse him physically and mentally, and put him through torture on stream for their content, because it was very popular content. It was all broadcast on Kick, and I speculated yesterday that Kick probably knew about it. Turns out they 100% knew about it, and Kick France would even make tweets about Jean Parmenov and the torture he was enduring. They were fully aware of what was happening. They even used him to push their merch. So Kick France, it's not like they can just try and make the claim, this flew under our radar. If only we had known, we would have swooped in like fucking Batman and saved Gotham City from this degeneracy. They knew. They even were an active participant in encouraging it, clearly. So they can't just play like the blissful ignorance card on it. Now, from what I read, that Kick Twitter account that was posting about it was run by a French agency, so maybe like Kick's staff didn't particularly know, but I find that kind of hard to believe that you would just let this agency have free reign that never ever reports back to Kick itself. So I'm very confident they were aware of what was happening, but since these streams were so popular, they were big. Like, I knew they were very successful, but I didn't know how big they were. These were huge streams. And since they were so huge, I think they were hesitant to shut it down, and given Kick's history of just letting illegal activity go unpunished for a really long time, I think it's pretty safe to say that they saw the amount of eyeballs this was bringing, and they just let it ride. They didn't care that Jean Parmenov was literally being fucking abused on their platform because it was getting some big-time peepers on the platform. And I think that needs to change ASAP for Kick. This is a platform that's growing a lot, and as I've said this a lot, I think it's a good thing if Kick continues to be successful. Competition in the streaming space is crucial, but the way that they handle their own rules is laughable. It's just as bad as the way Twitch handles their rules. Kick is not shutting down illegal activity on their platform, and they need to. Again, I'm not saying had they shut down this marathon of abuse stream, it would have saved Jean Parmenov's life. There's no way of knowing that. But at the very least, you would have set the tone that abusing and fundamentally torturing a human being on your platform is not welcome, which I think is a good stance to take. And it seems like it's something that a lot of the streamers on Kick would also like Kick to step up and do. Again, I mentioned this yesterday as another example. There is a streamer who is still actively streaming on Kick, as of me making this right now, is literally live, who has fucked multiple prostitutes on stream, and includes one time where he fucked a prostitute on stream with a child in the room while he did it on stream, and that guy is still not banned. Kick needs to start actually taking crimes seriously, which I can't believe is something that even needs to be said. But anyway, I'm not going to rant about that any longer. The big update to today's story is a French investigation has concluded that Jean Parmenov's death was not the result of any foul play. According to a public prosecutor, there was a post-mortem conducted, and he was found to have not been killed by trauma or a third party. The probable causes of death appear to be medical and/or toxicological. This is from Damien Martinelli, saying that further tests had been ordered, but ultimately they're concluding that this was not the result of all of the abuse and mistreatment that he endured for so long from these streamers that were beating him and strangling him and torturing him. 2 forensic doctors found no internal or external traumatic injuries or burns, only a few bruises and healed lesions. Medical experts considered that Mr. Gravin's death was not traumatic in origin and was not related to the intervention of a third party. Gravin may have suffered from heart problems and was undergoing medical treatment for his thyroid gland, the prosecutor added. There's a lot to unpack with this. Now, while his actual cause of death might not be directly related to all of the beatings and shit that he took from these fucking demons, I think it's inarguable that all of the stress and all of the torture that he endured probably was pretty bad for his already present medical conditions. I would make an argument, now of course I'm not a medical expert, that subjecting a human being with medical problems, as well as a couple of other things going on in the medical history, to the amount of beatings, strangulation, stress, consumption of dangerous chemicals, the sleep deprivation, and doing your absolute best to ensure perpetual misery of that individual probably exacerbates a lot of problems that could lead to their death. I would say that is something that most sensible people would agree with. I think if someone has underlying medical conditions, fundamentally torturing them is probably just going to make it worse. Even if the torture doesn't directly kill them, I would be shocked if anyone thinks that this means that those streamers' hands are clean. Like, oh, case closed. He didn't die from any of the trauma he experienced. Yeah, he had some bruises and all that, and yes, he was abused for so long, mistreated, and fundamentally tortured by these individuals, but his actual death, well, it looks like that was just of natural causes and had nothing to do with any of this innumerable amount of torture that we've bore witness to. Surely that was all just circumstantial, had nothing to do with any of that. They're blameless. These are just some saints here. These are angels, actually. These are just good friends of Raphael Gravin who are clearly going to be mourning his loss just as much as everyone else. They did nothing wrong. It was just medical problems that in no way was impacted by the abuse that he was subjected to for such an extended period of time from these individuals. I think all of the evidence that you can freely watch of all of the numerous, unfathomable mountain of clips of them just beating the shit out of him and literally like abusing him constantly, fundamentally torturing this man, would indicate that they definitely played a role in making his overall health worse. And we have the text messages from Raphael Gravin to his mother that indicate how much stress he was under and how he felt like he was being held hostage by them, that he couldn't leave, and that he desperately wanted out. It was so bad with their abuse of this man that they actually had him on stream confirm that if he dies, it's not their fault. I had to translate this, but in a clip that's out there, they are saying, well, what happens if Jean Parmenov dies? They said, well, we're going to have to get him to say that it's not our fault if he dies. It's a result of his lifelong bad health, his bad decisions, his terrible way of living that led to his death if he dies. And he initially said no. He didn't want to say that. But they made him say that. They forced him to say that if he dies, it is not because of all of the abuse that they subject him to. Does that sound like the actions of an innocent party here? They knew that he was vulnerable. They knew that what they were doing could very well, end up with him dead, it seems. And then to try and cover their ass, they had him agree that if he dies, it's because of his own health problems, which he initially declined to do. But they kept insisting that he clears them. It's fucking absurd to try and make the claim that all of these streams, the months worth of abuse, more than months, a long time of abuse they subjected Jean Parmenov to, had no role to play in his passing. It's craziness to try and make it seem like just because they didn't, fucking kill him on the spot on stream, that they had nothing to do with his death. Now, something I've seen popping up from some real fucking brain-dead morons here huffing stupid juice is that, well, he agreed to all of it, so it's his fault, can't be mad at the streamers. If that isn't the biggest load of fucking barnacles I've ever heard. First of all, we know from the text messages he didn't want to do it. He wanted to leave, but felt he couldn't leave, that he was being held hostage there. They weren't letting him leave, was the impression he was giving to a text message sent to his mother. Also, from what I was reading, they would actually force him to do this, sometimes monetarily. They would financially pressure him to participate in their abuse and mistreatment. And from the very get-go, it feels like they manipulated a mentally vulnerable man who was looking for friends into being their guinea pig to just beat on stream for content, to make money off of it. They treated this guy like a human piñata, where they would hit him until money fell out from like the deranged viewers that were watching and donating and all of that. There is nothing here that indicates that he was a willing participant for everything. Yes, he agreed to a certain level of like extreme challenges, but clearly not all of it. Again, we have the text messages that he sent to his mother. It's clear he didn't want to do all of it. And it's clear on stream the amount of times he would say no to things, but they would still force him to eventually just succumb to it and agree. Also, from what I was reading, I'm not super familiar with the law in the region, but from what I read, you can't even legally consent to being tortured or anything like that in the first place. So even if he like fully agreed to everything, it doesn't seem like you can legally even do that. Like you can't legally consent to fucking torture on yourself. It's just, this whole thing is indefensible in my eyes. Also, Naruto's a bitch. This loser brings shame to the entire Hidden Leaf village. He has ruined the Uzumaki name with this. He has filed a cyberbullying complaint amid the backlash to all of this. He has the gall to file a cyberbullying complaint about his feelings being hurt with people insulting him for all of the abuse that he subjected Jean Parmenov to. So he filed the complaint to the Paris prosecutor's office cyber hate division, targeting those who have harassed Naruto since JP's death. As he goes through a period of mourning, Naruto is the subject of a cyberbullying campaign. These behaviors, in addition to being immoral, constitute criminal offenses. A complaint will be filed in the coming days with the Paris prosecutor's office cyber hate division so that the perpetrators can be identified and prosecuted. You fucking vile worms. Imagine torturing a man for so long, so much mistreatment and abuse broadcast on stream so you could make money off of this man's misery. And now when that man passes away, you are now trying to play the victim yourself, like, oh, you guys are hurting our feelings. How can you guys be mean to us? We've done nothing wrong. That was our best friend. Did you not read our heartfelt post where we called him, where Naruto called him his sidekick? Did you also not read the part in Naruto's apology that was so heartfelt where he said, please stop sharing the final moments? Oh man, what, did you miss all of that? Because the final moments make them look so bad, because in the final moments he throws a fucking water bottle at JP's lifeless body on the floor and then goes and slaps it to see if he'll be responsive, only to find out he's dead? Because for the entirety of that marathon stream, they were just abusing this poor guy? What? Oh my god, did you miss all of that? It's so clear how much they loved their best friend, and you guys are being mean to them? That's crazy. Oh my god, what does the world come to? We need to identify and prosecute everyone who's left a nasty comment about Naruto and Safune. It's so fucking cringe. It's crazy. It is just craziness. This story has been so fucking gross, and I can only pray that they actually do face punishment here, because now I'm starting to worry that they won't. It looks like they might get away with it. I also learned that they'd actually been taken in by French authorities earlier this year about everything they were putting Jean Parmenov through on stream, but they were released the same day. And then it ultimately leads to what happened here, where they continue to do it because it looks like they're completely in the right legally over there in France, I guess, to continue mistreating this guy. So they continue to do it on stream, and it leads to a fucking tragedy with the passing of Jean Parmenov at 46 years old. This shit is so evil. Now again, all of this is happening in France, so a lot of the information that I get access to is through translations, so it is a little hard to keep up with everything, like, fully accurately, but I'm doing the best I can. It is just so sad. Like, this whole story of Raphael Gravin is just so sad, man. Like, it breaks my heart to see this kind of shit. Anyway, I just wanted to give you the update here. That's really about it. So yeah.